Hello, YouTube, and welcome to part 14 of Phantom Liberty with a Therapist. I appreciate that you are still watching. It means a lot, and I hope you've been enjoying yourselves. I know I have been. Please leave a like, leave a comment, check the links in the description, all that fun stuff. Share these videos with folks if you feel so inclined. Let's have some fun. So we have like people getting genetically modified and shit. Look at this. People like eating corn dogs and shit next to dead bodies. That is brutal. Find Rinder on the 3rd floor. I do actually kind of want to check this area out first, now that I killed everybody in it. I am also going to pre-apologize for clearing my throat and such. We had some wildfires come through the valley and my throat got pretty irritated by it, so. Reinforced Bargas tactical vest.
Got Rinder written on it. Prices on its arms and legs. Scavs sold them for parts?
No clue. Only thing we do know is the fucker cost an arm and a leg.
Hilarious. Let's just find him. His dog tag, whatever's left of him.
Yeah, 38,000 euro dollars. Crazy, man. All right. This place is not in good shape. Oh shit. No, I'm not strong enough to open that door, so.
Looking for this?
I'm begging you. How many fucking times do I gotta explain something so goddamn simple? External cyberware doesn't need to go in the fridge. Internal cyberware does. External means arms, legs, etc. Why is that? Because they're on the outside of the body. Can you guess where the internal ones are located? That's right, inside. Anything including synthetic kidneys, intestines, hearts, livers, lungs have to go in the fridge without exception. I'm begging you all to remember that. Why are you even taking stuff out of the fridge? There's a shitload of space in there. Human's gonna human, man. Oh boy. Hacked heart implant valve. Archive conversation. Gennady Korolev and Kryl Osipov. Yo, they brought the stuff. That amnesia shit I was telling you about. You in? Because everyone's dropping by to test it out before it goes to NC. Slaps pretty hard, apparently. Fuck! I can see you're reading this. Gonna say something? Well, if I'm reading this and you say everyone will be there, then obs, so will I. You're such a weirdo, Kolota. Guy's still getting after it. And vibing in the afterlife. Patient file, Misha Sorokin, 25 years old, physically sound, implant, second-gen arm implant, knockoff Zeta Tech, calibration needed in addition to installing visual cortex support and increasing memory to boost the brain's processing power. I don't really like what these guys are doing. So I'll put them out of everybody else's misery.
Bloodstains. Almost fresh. Looks like they carved someone up here recently.
Cuts on the walls, blood on the floor, optical on the table. Interior decoration. Scav edition.
Optic. Bronco. That Kuroshi optic from Rinder is as good as scrap. There's a virus on it. Nerves have latency, probably all from the beginnings of Hep B. I'd toss it in the trash. Fuck, can't we at least pull something useful data from it? Something interesting about Bargast, Hansen? Doubtful, but I'll check. It's honestly not in the best condition. Forever young. Are you in your 50s, 60s, even your 70s, but still want to look like you did in your teens? Do you crave the eternal youth of the Arasakas, but can't afford the implants? We've got a solution. One a day, Pure Dynamics will slow the effects of aging, helping you look even 20 years younger. You're just one small capsule away from enjoying your natural beauty to its fullest, even into old age. Pure Dynamics is completely safe to use. Studies have shown it to be over 95% effective. Takao Tanaka, MD, incredible. I'm 68 years old and I don't look a day over 40. One of our many satisfied customers. All my wife's sisters, friends constantly ask how she bagged her cougar self such a young husband. You should see her face when she tells them I'm actually old enough to be her father. Another satisfied customer. Don't bother getting an expensive new faceplate. Invest in your stunning natural beauty. Okay. Patient file. Fyodor Dmitriev, 36, damaged kidneys, CTE symptoms, progressive neurodegenerative disease. Implants, amplified dialysis intensity in the Zeta Tech IO3 kidney implant, decreased data load transmitted via Kuroshi as patient cannot keep up with processing, install prefrontal cortex assistance, any manufacturer to expand patient's decision-making capabilities. Oh!
Got a bad feeling, V.
Me too, Johnny. Well, shit.
How dare you abide!
Will you?
Grenade!
You have any idea who you're dealing with? Obviously not. I'm supposed to fucking babysit him? He paid for protection, Demir's orders. He could stick his orders up his ass. You see how much he's paying for protection? File attached. You download it? True. Forget what I said. I'll guard him, watch over him. Should I kiss him goodnight too? Hold his hand while he falls asleep? What can I say? I'm a slut for those sweet, sweet eddies. Can't help myself. That's what I love about you. 27. Patient has high cortisol levels in blood, physically sound, likely suffering from PTSD. And comorbidity, implants, Kiroshi MK3 with combat features enabled for extraction, Militech 3rd gen Cyberarm with nerve connectors after upgrade 1.8 for extraction, replaced with any 1st gen we have left. Militech Synaptic Accelerator for extraction, real skin to be removed from legs. Damn.
Hey, relax, Chum. Let's talk this through. Not about to off an unarmed man, are you?
Rinder? Thought you'd look different. More chromed.
I'm Rinder, all right, or at least what's left of him. Guessing you're here on contract. Hanson sent you?
I'm here in the name of those people you killed at the stacks.
What? Hold on. The stacks? I was there. Someone tried to rip me off, but I didn't kill no one. I've got these blackouts. Ain't always present. I'm sick, okay? Sounds like you know more than me.
You and Hanson, what happened? Left you on the rocks?
You got eyes? Tossed me to rot in the gutter. My chums, too. 8 years I gave that asshole.
8 years. Kid enlisted at 20. Had no excuse. Fuck did he think it'd happen? Stuffing himself with combat wear like a piñata. Matter of time before he burst.
You let scavs carve you up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Why?
'Cause I told him to. What do you think? Sold him my chrome. Might be twisted fucks, but they keep their word.
Now you're gonna tell me that hulking slab of a scav that came at me was your ripper?
That bumbling buffoon? Just proof they can't guard for shit.
You killed that kid Jason, along with 7 others. Why? What for?
I'm sick, all right? I wanted to pawn my chrome, collect enough scraps to get treated. Jason was my go-between with the local scavs.
And here you are, meaning he did his part.
Except you tried to give me the Dogtown shakedown first. Started waving his big dick iron. Fucking savage. And then... I can't remember.
Well, as all of these side quests have been, this is complicated. One of the things that I have never really appreciated about the way insanity pleas are represented to the masses is that people often look at them as excuses and people just trying to get out of accountability for something that they did. Often without realizing that even if you plead insanity on something and it gets granted, you still have to atone and shit. It's not like you just go home and you're fine. But regardless, the reason that bothers me is because there's a very complicated conversation to have about accountability when somebody is legitimately experiencing something that may actually contribute to them not being fully conscious about what they're doing. And because we can't get into the brains of other people, it is incredibly hard to make that determination. So, for example, if we were to look at this in a more realistic way, where maybe we say that Reinder has been diagnosed with severe PTSD. And as part of his PTSD, when he is triggered by something, and I don't mean triggered in bothered, I mean like legitimately triggered, where his brain goes into an involuntary response because it's registering the local environment as being dangerous in some way, in a way that it is associated with a dangerous situation before. His brain goes into trauma mode, in some ways deactivates full conscious awareness of the moment, and he reacts by snapping somebody's neck when they come at him in a particular way. And then when he comes to and regains some consciousness around that, doesn't remember that he did that. That's a complicated scenario. Because if you are hijacked by your own brain and you didn't intend to do that thing, and you don't have any awareness of it, it doesn't change the fact that it was done, but does it change the way that you levy a punishment against somebody in accountability? Like ultimately, your vessel, your body was the thing that committed the act of snapping that person's neck. Not even in self-defense, but because you got triggered. And that, just because we say, well, you have PTSD, doesn't make that go away. Doesn't bring that person back to life. So what do you do? And there's really no good answer to this, because the only good answer would be you bring these people back to life, and we can't do that. The finality of death makes this all the more complicated. So this guy, so where that leads me is a conversation about accountability in mental illness. If this guy is aware that he is diagnosed with PTSD, it is his responsibility to understand his triggers. It is his responsibility to learn how to manage his experience and to understand the way that he may be affected by his PTSD, particularly if that includes blackouts. Other people are not responsible for managing any mental disorder that you have. Now, there are some varying degrees of severity where, yeah, you do have to have people that, but I'm not talking about like severe psychosis. I'm talking about things like PTSD or OCD or ADHD or whatever. Like, there are accommodations that people can provide, but ultimately you are also responsible for learning the ways to manage the thing that is affecting you specifically. Now, obviously, this guy doesn't have the access to resources, as do many people in Night City don't have access to the types of resources that would be useful in preventing this type of thing. If he didn't have to have a premium trauma package in order to access a psychiatrist or a therapist who could help him work through his PTSD so that these blackouts are mitigated or avoided, then at what point do we hold the system accountable for the lack of resources available to a person that could have helped prevent him from doing this thing, right? Like, that's where the complications of all of this really come into play. So in this particular moment, do I shoot him because he killed all of these people and say, well, this is what you deserve? Do I take him at his word where he literally didn't know that he did that and he blacked out, and say, well, despite the fact that you blacked out, you still killed these people and that matters, so you have to atone for something you didn't consciously engage in? Or do I let him go and essentially say, well, that's a good enough explanation for me. You didn't mean to do it, and I trust that you won't do it ever again. That's a really hard call to make to some extent. And nobody's going to walk away from this happy. I don't know how dangerous this guy is going forward. If he has the capacity to kill 7 or 8 people and we let him go and he snaps again because he doesn't have access to the resources that he needs to have access to in order to prevent that type of thing, maybe he goes out and kills other people. Is that my responsibility if I let him go in that moment? No. I don't think so. I mean, I suppose in some ways there's a partial sliver of it because I let him go. But ultimately, the only way that other people die by his hands are if he kills people, not because I let him go. We can't indulge one specific what if without engaging with other what ifs. I mean, other what ifs would be, well, what if we let him go and he doesn't do anything? What if we let him go and he atones for it? What if we let him go and he moves to Reno and secludes himself in the woods and lives a life of peace? We don't know. And so if we make the decision that because he's killed people before, he is going to kill people again, that's not a fair judgment on our part. That's not for me to decide. The thing that we have to figure out is what we want to do with the information that we have at hand. Working with our known variables. But this is part of the issue when we see things that can, in some ways, be directed toward, like, mental illness and instability. Where if this person legitimately has something going on in his brain that is preventing him from operating within the realm of what we would consider to be appropriate for societal engagement, stuff's tough, man. I don't know what he's capable of anymore. I don't know what... He also could be lying to me. It's a very plausible story. He could say, I don't remember it. I don't know. So I got to work with the known variables I have at hand, but I just really want to lay the foundation for this because when people plea insanity or the involvement of mental illness with something, it's a lot more nuanced than just an excuse to get out of it. Accountability is not always a black and white thing. I don't really care about the contract I have with the victims' families or any of that stuff. Like the cyberpunky aspects of this, like, yeah, I just killed about 15 people coming into this building. Like, that stuff doesn't really matter to me. Sort of like the underlying core concept of how it would relate to real life here that matters to me.
Rippers in Dogtown. None of them could help. Say what's ailing you.
If they did, think I'd have myself gutted like a fish? Ripping out third-gen combat wear and tripping myself with crooked chrome for what? Shits and gigs?
Been doing Hansen's dirty work for years. Tying off loose ends. That all a blackout too?
Fuck you want me to say? That I admit to all the sins I committed? Remembered, forgotten, and all in between? Fine. I regret it, okay? I regret all the years with Hansen. Joined up when I was just a kid. Kept my head down, followed orders. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. As if you know shit about Dogtown anyhow.
There's a reason that you go for people young. He's not wrong here. It's a hell of a lot harder to get a 30-year-old to enlist in the military than it is to get a 18-year-old to do it. And yeah, an 18-year-old brain is not fully developed. It's not in a place, I mean, yes, it's more developed than a 13-year-old's brain, but it's still not fully there. There's a reason that so many organizations go for the youth on things to get their engagement. So yeah, when he says I was a kid and I joined and I followed orders, like, yes, I mean, in a lot of ways that is true. Like, he's not wrong. He probably didn't know any better. Or if he did, he was in a position where he was essentially grabbed by the balls by Hansen, where, you know, you either choose to comply or maybe even get killed by Hansen or by fellow Barghast. I mean, we don't know. We don't have the context here. And yeah, maybe as an adult, he looks back on it and he's like, yeah, I don't love what I did. I don't love the decisions I made when I was a kid. But I was just a kid. And yes, that's true. But then we get into a similar gray area here. To what extent do you hold a kid accountable for their actions, knowing that their brain's not fully developed enough to make the proper decisions around something? And I don't know what it's like growing up in Dogtown. I don't know what his circumstances are. I have an immensely high capacity for empathy for people in Night City and Dogtown when they do things out of desperation, because the world they live in sucks ass. The shitty part about this entire system is that the people who make the rules and are in positions of power don't suffer from the same day-to-day awfulness that everybody else in Night City suffers from. So there's a standard for people that's held here that is certainly plausible by people who have money, but you really negate the level of desperation that some of these people are at in order to survive their lives. He may have joined Militech, or he may have joined Barghast because he didn't see any other options to get his way out. It was the best way he can make money, that he could have purpose, that he could survive. It was that, or like join a gang and do drugs or die or whatever. So I don't fault him for the approach that he has here in telling me, like, yeah, I'm sorry for what I did, but I did all these things as a kid and I didn't know any better. And now I've got all these problems. I was modified. My mind is altered. Now I've been harvested. I got all this shit going on. It's another example of a beautifully written quest here. There's no right answer here.
Dogtown chewed him up, shat him out. Place must be packed with hapless turds like him. Be simpler if it was all Hansen's fault. But that ain't how it works.
And that is true. Like, we can blame Hansen for a large bulk of it.
Well, say something.
But not all. It's sort of like, this is a really tricky area to occupy here, but Hansen only has power because collectively the general populace is to some extent enabling it. And I'm not in the business of like full-blown victim blaming people who are subjected to Hansen's power, because he does have Barghast, he does have weapons, he does have power and control. But no one person is able to hold off the entire populace if the entire populace was to decide that they're going to go against it. So the police force, Barghast, under Hansen, could organize and turn on him. The general populace of Dogtown could find a way. It's very difficult. I don't want to make this sound like it's easy. It's incredibly difficult to do this. But if the entire populace of Dogtown decided, we're not putting up with this shit, there's not a lot that Kurt Hansen can do. Kurt Hansen leads on illusion of power and on individual fear, that people are worried that if they push against him, they could die. And that is true. But if you get the whole system against, probably some people would die, but you could potentially overthrow him. Look at the way that places like France handle when they try to raise the retirement age. People are rioting in the streets. There's a level of passivity in certain places, the United States being one of them, where the general populace generally doesn't get activated in a way that's going to hold people in positions of power accountable. And I would say in a lot of ways that Dogtown and Night City operate similarly to the way the United States operates. There's not a lot of pushback from large groups of people. There's not people storming the certain areas that they could storm in order to make people's lives a living hell. There's not people refusing, like going on widespread boycott. But it's really, really, it's tough to get people organized. It's why corporations work really hard to prevent people from joining unions, because people in positions of power that really only have symbolic power are terrified of collective grouping together, because that can get rid of you immediately or quickly, depending on how well organized they are. So, really tough stuff. Like, yes, Kurt Hansen is part of this, but also the lack of collective action on behalf of the populace is also partially to blame. When you start seeing things systemically, it gets way more complicated.
Tell me, what don't I know about Dogtown?
It wasn't the scavs tried to fuck me over. It was that shitweasel Jason. Dogtown's teeming with filth like him. Makes Barghast look good in comparison. See how they live in those cargo containers? Bunch of fucking savages. Can't have folks leaving either, huh? Want you to rot right there beside them.
Took a look at the scene. Only shots fired came from military-grade iron. Kind only you could carry. Then he bashed Jason's head against the ground more than a dozen times. Tossed the rest around like rag dolls. Was blood everywhere.
No, it's impossible. I swear, I would've...
He's telling the truth. Blacked out, that's why he can't remember. Combine heavy psi-wear with a short fuse, and you've got a perfect recipe for carnage.
If it is cyberpsychosis, then maybe there's still hope for him. Thinking Regina.
Knew plenty who joined the army to make a quick buck. Hell, was one of them myself. But 8 years to sprout conscience? Nah, fuck that.
Put him down.
Johnny has fallen for a classic blunder. And it's one that is unfortunate. It's kind of a personal pet peeve of mine, but it's one that is explainable. And it's really a bummer because you actually see it happen quite frequently. Johnny when people like Johnny move through something like this, like let's say the military in this case, and they become an exception to the rule, and sort of take like the moral high ground on something. So in this case, Johnny is essentially insinuating that he got a conscience faster than Reiner did. He then is quick to turn on people who joined the system that he joined for similar reasons, because he sees himself as the exception, and thus, why shouldn't everybody else be the exception? So you are less than because you didn't fight your way out of that system in the same way that I did. It's like if you look at a person who came from nothing, goes into politics, and then creates policies that directly hurt people who came from the same place that that person did. If that person sits there and goes, well, I got out of it, so the fact that none of you are getting out of it says something about you personally, not something about the system you're embedded in. I don't see myself as the exception. I see myself as the ideal that everybody else should be able to accomplish. Now all of a sudden you have a person in a position actively harming people that lived in a context that are similar to what they had, only because they've indulged the idea that they're not an exception. They are the ideal. So Johnny goes from empathy to judgment almost instantaneously right there, of like, hey, I get it, man. People join the military to make a quick buck. They don't have many other options, but it took him 8 years to figure out that that was a shitty circumstance. Well, it didn't take me that long, so this guy sucks. Fuck that. People have different contexts, different experiences. Why are we not looking at it as he actually came to that conclusion? Now, again, I'm not trying to diminish his accountability for the things that he did. Things that he did are terrible. He's got to answer for them. But Johnny's doing a little about face there. That's a dynamic that when people in certain positions of power get into, it can be really problematic.
Down? That your solution?
Karma had it coming to him. Of course, unless you're gonna take pity on every asshole who starts feeling blue.
Reinder, these blackouts, violent outbursts. Ever consider the possibility you might have cyberpsychosis?
What, because I didn't tuck tail when that longsword trash tried to fleece me? Give me a fucking break! Look at me! What else have I got to lose, huh? They fucked me over, all of them! Used to be a soldier. Look at me now!
Had heaps of time to walk away before you dove off the deep end.
I was 20, okay? Put my faith in Hansen. Wasn't the first or last. And make everything my fucking fault now? And those whiny bitches I dropped at the stacks? Fuck them! Fuck Dogtown! I'd burn this shithole to the ground if I could, along with everyone in it!
Think I've
What
heard
are
of
you
that.
waiting for?
That was all I needed. I mean, at that point, really, I don't see him as any different than the other guys that were in this building. You know, you're super violent and all that stuff. You start to engage with some level of empathy for yourself, and then you switch to, fuck all these people, we're going to burn this place to the ground when I've already been super dangerous like that. You didn't show me that you're any different than anybody else in here, and I don't really care to deal with it. So, take his dog tags and go. He just as easily could have been one of these other dudes in here at this point. But yeah, you want to you're in a position that you're in with me, with somebody who is in the position to be the sort of the judge on this, and you act out like that, it's not going to help you. It's the same thing as a person who's in the courtroom with a judge and then they jump the judge. It's like, or they spit in the judge's face. You're not helping yourself, man. That shows me a lack of judgment, which shows a level of impulsivity that I don't know that he won't return to. And if it's easier for me to end it there, in some ways, I guess, put him out of his misery because he seemed miserable, and accomplish this, leave no trace of the shit that's happening up there, so be it. Tough stuff, man. I was trying. Also, I will say, here's the other thing. There's a difference between saying, I was a kid, but now I see all of these things, and just saying I was a kid as a means to try to excuse yourself and get out of a situation. And I didn't get a sense from him that there was any like legitimate remorse there, so much as he was just trying to justify why things happened the way that they did. There was no like, hey man, I'll make sure that it never happens again. Good thing these cyber implants are out because I don't trust myself. I want to find help. Anything like that. So if you're going to be super dangerous and then you're going to sit there and call everybody trash and say you do it all over again and burn the place to the ground, we're done.
It's done? Rinder's dead? You didn't let us down, did you?
Nope.
Found Rinder in Pacifica. Dealt with him.
Then the son of a bitch got what he deserved. On behalf of all the residents of the Stacks, thank you.
It's the least I could do.
Alright. That's it.
The target. Is he terminated?
Took care of him.
Congratulations, then. Contract closed.
All right. Go to Alex's safe house. All right. All right. Okay. About time we get back to the main quest.
Remember last time we had this convo?
I do. Yeah. V, you're here. It's about time, too. We're nearly done finalizing the plan.
And how's progress?
Just a small difference of opinion to iron out.
Before NC, we worked in Op in Colombia. Medellin. Song's
Not
first
now,
mission.
Alex. We have enough to do without digging up ancient history.
What happened in Medellin? What was the op there?
We had our sights trained on a guy who sat in the Colombian president's back pocket. Sold him smuggled Corp-Tech.
You saying the FIA pulls strings overseas?
A lot of what we do doesn't get printed in the norm sheets. Anyway, we used stolen identities on that mission, too. Things didn't go exactly as planned, but that's a long story.
Think we can spare 60 seconds. Hell, might even learn something about Somi that'll prove useful.
All right. Our person of interest was one Luis Hernandez, arms trading heavyweight. We aim to plant our own SA in his organization. Alex had adopted the identity of an engineer from Hernandez's entourage. She was our ticket in. She walks in to attend a meeting one day. She sees one of Luis's bikini model girlfriends prancing out on her way to walk his Doberman. Spending big money on kitsch luxury. It was kind of his MO.
So what happened?
Well, Somi had put together Hernandez's dossier. Problem was, an important detail slipped through the cracks. The engineer's abject fear of dogs. Cold sweat, shaky hands, soggy pant leg, that kind of fear. When the Doberman sniffed Alex's knee, she pats him on the head and says, "Who's a good boy?" Then, she went to pull up a chair at Hernandez's table. Before she could sit down, they had two barrels to her head and one trained at the base of her spine.
What did you do?
Well, my hands are bound, got a sack on my head. Here a collapsible baton snap into place. Thwack. I did what anyone do in that sitch. I lied my fucking ass off. Don't sit quite straight to this day, though.
Okay, back to Night City, folks. With our sights trained on a new target.
Okay. That's it? So what's the moral of the story? Be thorough in understanding whose identity you took on. Psychological evaluation, Colonel Kurt Hansen. Routine evaluation, low risk of cyberpsychosis, IQ above average, danger to others low, danger to self low. Commanding officers note. An efficient and effective soldier, direct communication and natural rapport with subordinates has earned him their trust and respect, at times overly assertive with his superiors. Reliable, consistent performance, to date, one incident on record. Psychological assessment exhibits a moderate tendency for insubordination and individualistic behavior. Recommendation, maintain closer oversight from CO while broadening his scope of responsibility in order to foster a sense of mutual trust and commitment. Performance outlook, good. Recommendation for further evaluation, no. How fascinating that he presented as a problem child and as a result was given more responsibility, whereas there were other people who followed orders, didn't engage in insubordination, who probably never got those opportunities. Go backwards to me, if you ask me.
We've parsed the intel from the shards Somi gave me. It's a solid foundation for the mission we want to run. Surveillance, recon, data gathering, planning, it's all done. It's high time we righted some wrongs of the past.
Fuck off, Reed. Give it a rest, will ya? Nothing here's your fault. Woman's an adult, made her own decisions. Consequences caught up to her.
No, she was manipulated. There was no one around who could have had her back. Here,
It's
Reed.
both.
Mission details on this.
Stop worrying, Reed. We'll get her out. Save her.
I know. And not just her. That goes for you too. Right. Our objective, to free Somi from under Hansen's duress. Unfortunately, this ain't a normal rescue op. Because, well, she's been infected with something from beyond the Black Wall. A consequence of her service to the NUS and President Myers. I'm not about to pretend I understand the tech whys and hows. The important thing is, if she doesn't get treatment, it'll kill her.
The cure is an AI that lives on a neural matrix. Hansen possesses said matrix now. We aim to seize it.
So this neural matrix, how much do we know?
Experimental tech nested in a mainframe that someone dragged up from deep beneath Dogtown. From a bunker, to be exact. Part of Project Cynosure, a joint U.S. Militech operation mounted in a bid to counter Arasaka's Soul Killer. The Matrix itself is a functional container. It houses an AI from beyond the Black Wall, and its design lets the user deploy the AI for a specific purpose. In our case, to fix you and Songbird.
All right. Plan. Let me hear it.
Hansen to meet with the net runners you already know. The meeting itself is our chance to get close to Song and the Matrix. Hansen hired the French duo because they worked for Militech years back. They know its security protocols inside out.
Also, they're selling Hansen access codes. Handy when Songbird goes to extract the Matrix from the Cynosure mainframe. Hansen's gunning for data from what he knows was a secret Militech NUS research project. He has no idea the neural matrix is in there too. Runners, scans, and behaviorals we have. Now we just need to take those twins out of the equation.
Emmerich and Aurora Cassell. We know anything more beyond what we saw firsthand?
Yep, Songbird put together full profiles for both. Super short brief. They got their start at Militech and dove in deep. That is, till they learned the pay's better on the dark side.
Yeah, I buy that. Sure didn't hide their love of Eddie's.
Gonna miss that next paycheck, because they ran into us. We're gonna nab them before they reach Hansen.
So we kidnap them. How we want to do this?
They're driving a rental while in NC, an exploitable opening. We're gonna track their ride and hijack it before they reach Hansen at the stadium. That's where you come in, V. We'll need you to breach the rental firm's tracking system. Alex will fill you in later. Once we have the runners, you'll take their place. The behavioral imprints are tuned already.
And you're rolling all this, Reed?
I'm drawing up your exfil route. Once you complete the mission, you need to get out in a hurry. I'll provide transport, make sure the path's clear and problem-free.
Brings us to the final stage, right? Meeting with Hansen.
Right. Where you'll sell him the access codes to the mainframe. In other words, the key to unlocking your medicine cabinet. One of you will join Somi in the lab to feed in the codes when needed. Hansen's likely to keep the other at his side. Collateral.
I'll stay with Hansen, you'll join Songbird. Once the data floodgates are open, you'll signal me. Gonna disarm Hansen, take him and his guards out.
Whoa.
Hansen and his goons. Aim to handle them on your own?
Can do a lot more than play dress-up, thank you. Plus, element of total surprise in my corner. Still, sweet of you to worry.
Sounds like flatlining Hansen set in stone.
Order came directly from Myers. Confirmed at this stage. He took a potentially lethal swipe at the president of the NUS.
And Songbird?
We have to rescue her. Myers told you as much herself. All clear? If you have any questions, now's the time to ask.
Something's still a little bit off. And I don't really have a hypothesis about what it is, but all I know is that some things still feels kind of weird. And yeah, no, I wouldn't say it passes the vibe check. Like, it feels like there is something. It feels like there's something personal that Reed is trying to atone for in this mission that he's not fully letting on about. And I worry about him being personally compromised. Not even necessarily in like a bad way, but just like in a way where it's like there's his like, we gotta get her out no matter what, feels more emotionally loaded for a guy who really operates primarily on principle. I'm not even saying that I necessarily like distrust him. I guess I want to fully understand what they have at stake here. We'll ask some questions and maybe we'll find out.
First step. What was it again?
Securing a trace on the Netrunner's car. This bit's on you. Alex will expand on that in a minute. Meanwhile, we'll make sure the personality data and imprints are airtight.
Main goal. Want to make sure I'm clear.
We're bringing Songbird free from Hansen's iron grip. And seasoned tech that's gonna save your lives. You and Alex enter the stadium as Hansen's visiting Netrunners. Disguise is our key to the op.
How much have you told Myers? What's she know?
That Somi's fallen into the hands of the man who's organized the downing of Space Force One.
Is that all?
All for now.
But we don't know that. I think maybe that's part of what's got me thrown here. I'm still not convinced that was Hansen. Because like we talked about in the casino, Hansen needs Rosalind Myers. And I have to imagine he's smart enough to know that. I don't see how downing Space Force 1 in Dogtown really benefits him. So we're operating on an assumption that Hansen is who took Rosalind Myers down. And that's what doesn't feel right for me. Like, there's a part of me that wonders if Songbird is who took it down. If Songbird coordinated that because she's so desperate. Songbird has shown herself to be incredibly cunning, and she's also very desperate. And there tends to be sort of a skeptical vibe around Rosalind Myers that has me in a position where I'm like, I don't know what the motivation is for Kurt Hansen to take Rosalind Myers down like that. I also don't know how Kurt Hansen would have known that Rosalind Myers was going to be flying above at that particular time too. Like, it's just, that's what doesn't feel right to me, is it feels like we're operating on the wrong pretense. And you would think that that's a piece of intel that they would want to have airtight before we go after this. Also, yeah, there's not a lot of information about what's going on with Songbird here, like what her motivations are, what she's potentially willing to go with. Remember, Songbird doesn't really seem to be as invested in getting out of this situation as she does getting what she needs from it, which is the thing that Hansen has. So if we get to a point where we're trying to get her out, and that means getting her away from the thing that can save her potentially. I mean, I realize that this includes trying to get that thing, but we don't know her motivations well enough. So there's a lot of stuff swirling around here that doesn't feel particularly airtight for me.
Things couldn't be clearer. Let's get to
I
work.
don't know about that.
So, time we talk nabbing the runners?
Cover that in a minute.
And any for your thoughts, Alex, about all this?
Honestly, still wondering why neither of us went back to DC. Not me, not Reed.
They put him to sleep, saddle you with a Dogtown assignment.
Who are you kidding? Say we disobeyed orders, gone back. A dressing down by some bureaucrat would be the worst we'd have had to endure. Think we were both waiting for something, like the downing of Space Force 1. Probably makes us a sad fucking pair of hypocrites.
Myers doesn't know the deets of this op, does she? Never will, is that right?
It's not wrong.
So we serve Hansen up on a silver platter. It'll be salutes and handshakes. Shit goes sideways, we're royally fucked.
Welcome to the agency.
I also would like to know the extent to which Rosalind Myers feels threatened by Hansen. And I'm trying to rack my brain to figure out if she actually ever said anything about that, and I don't get a sense that she did. But Hansen is the leader of a small splinter group in a subset of Night City. It's not like he's the president of Russia. So that's the other thing, is it's like, to what extent is Rosalind Myers actually threatened by his existence?
I've got your tongue?
You know Reed better than I do. What he thinks. What's his true aim here? Saving so me or carrying out a mission?
Saul imagines he's responsible for her. Always has. Thinks he's responsible for all of us. Hell, even for you, I bet. It's how he keeps his grip on reality, life. With mixed results, mind you.
Yeah, mixed indeed. And it's time for us to talk about people who overly assume responsibility for others. Because you run a massive risk of actually pushing them away in a big way. It's one thing if people invite that type of energy from you and are interested in it, feel cared for by it. But when you impose a caregiving role on people without any kind of consultation as to whether that's something they're interested in, that could actually create a significant amount of distance. Because what that can passively send as a message to the people around you is that they're not capable of handling themselves. If you build your entire identity around being a caretaker and the people around you are autonomous and operate their lives smoothly and well, you lose your sense of who you are. And that is not a comfortable thing for anybody to experience. And so you will sometimes see caregivers clutch with a death grip to that. They'll impose their will on people. They'll find ways to point out people's incompetence just so that they can be part of who fills in that gap and helps them be competent. So if Reed has wrapped his identity up in, I need to make sure that all these people are taken care of, then he may experience some counter pressure from people in the form of, I don't need you to look after me. I didn't ask for that. And also may be compromised by that when he sees people getting stuck in situations, as Alex was pointing out, where they're accountable for the consequences of their choice that they made autonomously, and he takes responsibility for it. Oh, I could have saved her from making that decision. No. Sometimes people have to screw up. Sometimes people have to make bad decisions in order to learn from them. And if you sit there taking responsibility for it and going all woe is me and expecting people to make you feel better about something you're not responsible for in the first place, that's another thing that's going to push people away. It's great to want to take care of people. It's cool if you're in a position to want to take responsibility for some of that stuff. But it's also very important to acknowledge, validate, and encourage the autonomy of the people you take care of. Otherwise, you build the vibe that you're the one who's competent and nobody else is unless you're around to take care of them. And that's not going to feel good for the people involved. I will also use this as an opportunity to remind folks, please don't give any information that we haven't already gotten. This is a spoil-free and a backseat-free run.
And so me?
Same story as always. Dares, lands neck deep in shit, somehow crawls out. Rinse and repeat.
Intercepting the runners. How do we do that?
They're driving a rental. Plans to break into the rental service system. Karen Exotics specializes in rare models. Karen has tracking stations around the city. Gain access to those, we find the car easy. There's a station not far, near Pacifica Serenity Bible Church. Check it out.
The stations, how do they work exactly?
They ping vehicle IDs across the network, monitor location, tire pressure, all of that. Hack them, and it'll be open season on the runners.
Find it hard to believe taking one station will be enough. Rental agencies got rare rides to protect.
See if I can find more info. If the one's not enough, we'll improvise.
So, breach the station, trace the car. Good. What then?
I hate that. I don't know about you guys, but I do not like how much of this is shooting from the hip. Oh, well, if one's not enough, we'll improvise. The last fucking thing I want to do is improvise. If we have the opportunity to plan something out up front, then let's do that. Relying upon improvisational skill in a situation that nobody is fully informed on is not good spying. Like, I love the idea that we can rely on the fact, like, I feel pretty good at in terms of my improvisational skills. It's not something that I ever want to rely on. It's something that if shit hits the fan, thank God I can think my way through it. But I don't want to plan for improvisation. If I just told you I'm not sure one's enough and we could look into finding out whether we could maybe get 2 or 3, why wouldn't we do that? I realize it's a video game, blah, 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 but like ultimately that just doesn't feel that this is opening up possibility for error. It's opening up the chance that this isn't going to go well, which makes for great drama in a video game, but in real life, holy hell.
Use this little doodad. It'll pop the locks on the doors, let you take complete control from the trunk.
Dunno. Anything goes wrong, I'll be stuck in there.
Suck it up. This is FIA trunk ops, soldier. Seriously though, the tech just works. And we'll have your back the whole way.
You know, Kabuki's tech wizards sell similar stuff under the counter. Wouldn't ever call it reliable.
Well, Fed tech wizards are just more skilled than Kabukis.
Better be.
When you think you're near a station, scan your surroundings. They're not concealed. Shouldn't be tough to spot.
Get right on it.
Okay. You're gonna be wild. Check one thing real quick. Okay. I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry, friends. Oh, God. Oh, God. Sorry. It's just I'm drunk. Okay. His handling is just not my favorite. Ugh. Who's the big boy?
B, heads up. I can't talk long, but 2 things, quickly. First, good news. I managed to upgrade your relic's firmware. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Don't worry, completely painless.
Did I want that?
Relic upgraded. How'd you manage it? No easy feat, I guess, tweaking tech that advanced.
Let's say I've had extra time on my hands. More than I expected.
Don't worry, we're getting you out of there.
I know.
First, good news, you said. Is there a second thing?
Right. It's super important. Stays between us. It's gotta. Proof of my trust. I'm sending you coordinates. Come after dark. We should be able to talk freely. Okay, Need to Delta, but see you soon.
I just don't like how cryptic all this shit is. Just don't like it. It's good news, bad news, good way to deliver information in a healthy way. Are there better alternatives? That's fine. And you are letting on some information about what you deem to be good news versus bad news, which means you're making some assumptions about what that person would perceive, but Anonymous, thanks for gifting that sub to DL.
Mon cher, obligé d'aller. Poussière, ça va blague. Dis-moi.
What's up with this fucking neighborhood?
Think I don't got eyes? Can see them streets emptying out. Less and less.
Great. Just great. Got a problem, Alex. Gonna take more than breaching one station to recreate the encryption key.
Fuck. Give me a sec.
I told you.
Okay, got another station for you to try.
Is this the improvisational part? Oh man, can I adjust that right now? That'd be pretty cool if I can.
Hold on. Let me ping the station remotely. Try to save us some time.
Clever.
That's me.
No response.
Think standing around's gonna help?
It might. Think we're good with just one more?
It's a car rental company, for Christ's sake. How sophisticated a system can they have?
Let's get to it.
Good luck out there. And raise Reed soon as you grab that encryption key.
So I guess what I'm trying to figure out right now is... Okay, so I do have to meet with her, so we're gonna grab that. Or do I meet with her before I do this second one? Oh, God. The hell? Doing parkour in Destiny right now. There we go.
Looking for something? Won't find you here. Nothing to find.
What do you know, kid?
Hey, that your mom? She doing all right?
Uh-huh. She's fine.
Sure about that? Dunno. Maybe you ought to tell someone.
Nah, she just came down from 2 days of BDing. She'll wake up soon, snarf a scop dog, and cry about having a headache. She always does that.
Kids are remarkably resilient and will take things in stride way better than adults will. So this child being habituated to her mom's actions like that and speaking matter-of-factly about what's going on, yeah. Like if you're a child of a drug addict, you learn via observations those patterns immediately. Almost. I mean, it's really, it forces you to grow up really fast and understand things you really shouldn't have to understand, and that's on the parents. And it's, I mean, I always say, I've said it in this playthrough, adults make everything worse for kids. And so, yeah, like this mom being, I don't know, addicted to BDs or whatever, and this child knowing the exact process of what's going to happen is sad. It's indicative of this being a regular process. That kid's going to have some pretty amazing resiliency. That's not the kind of resiliency you want your kid to have. You learn that in adulthood. You got one kid on an iPad, another one holding a gun, probably protecting her mom while her mom's out. Maybe because her mom's told her, I need you to cover me.
Got a signal from a Borked transceiver. Here to fix it.
Then fix it.
I am.
Borked.
No shit, that's what I just said.
It ain't working? Jesus. You want a hint? I can tell you how to fix it if you really want to fix it. Old people need help with this stuff sometimes. So, yeah, turn it off first, then turn it back on. You know, I can tell you where to look for the on button for 1,000 ads. Interested?
Love it. Yeah, I'll pay it.
Okay, Eddies are all yours.
Nova. Done deal.
So, switch. Where is it?
I don't know exactly. Around here. Telling you where to look, not where to find it. Just like I said. We'll play hot and cold. If you're close or far, we'll holler hot or cold. Let's start playing. You'll get it.
Oh, God.
Warmer. Warmer. Getting hot.
Wow, I'm so hot.
Warmer.
What the fuck? My BD! No! And the best fucking bit, too! Jackass power grids? Woo-hoo! Yeah! We're back on, baby!
You got two surefire fixes. Hard reboot or hard kick. Yo, yo, yo! Don't even think about flatlining here. I ain't gonna touch a corpse.
This gotta be what having a fucking stroke feels like.
Encryption key received. Nice work. I'll get a start on tracking Aurora and its symmetric. As soon as they're near Dogtown, we'll know. We're in business. Signal from the tracker is live. Don't forget, once you get the green light from S, you contact me immediately. We're at a point now where a delay could sabotage everything. All right. So now,
Still tuned in? Stay if you want. We'll keep playing.
where's my motorbike? Damn, dude. People really just don't stop for shit. Alright, get out.
Please no! All units in the area. Criminal activity confirmed in Santo Domingo. I repeat, confirmed criminal activity in Santo Domingo.
521 reporting. Sorry, dispatch. Had to take a leak. I'm en route.
All units be advised. Suspect remains in the vicinity. Zero. I repeat, code 0 in this area. All units resume normal.
Oh shit. Probably to Alex's message. Hey V, now that you got those pesky transceivers all sorted out, how about stopping by the Moth? Kick back, take a breather. Already got a bottle open. The kind for special occasions. What do you say? The hardest part of a mission is always the waiting. Thanks for the invite. Little drink won't hurt. You might want to hurry. The bottle will not last long. Alright, so we meet Alex at the Moth, and then we go meet Songbird.
Ain't nothing without your help.
Keep your eyes peeled. Anything suspicious, report.
Alright, so here's what I don't like about any of this. We're all supposed to be working together. Me, Alex, and Reed. And Songbird. And Rosalind Myers. And what I don't like is that Songbird is pulling us out separately, saying that she needs to know whether I can be trusted. Because what that tells me is that Reed and Alex's trust in me is not good enough for her. Which means that there's some kind of gap there in their alignment on the mission and what it is that they're trying to accomplish. That maybe Songbird doesn't trust Reed and Alex, or doesn't trust that they're going to allow her to do what she's trying to accomplish. Right? Like she doesn't trust them, or she doesn't trust me, or whatever it is. But the fact that she is trying to meet with us without anybody else knowing, people who are tasked with getting her out of the situation she wants to get out of, she's towing the lines that make it very difficult to want to fully invest in her. And I understand that she's under duress, that she's with Hanson, you know, but this whole, like, I can only communicate with you in small doses thing, you know, she just said I had a whole bunch of time. I used it to update your relic. Is there a way that she could have talked to me throughout that time, given me this information? Why do I have to meet with her directly? Just contributes to more on my toes, don't entirely know what we're getting into. So we'll split that drink with Alex when I return for part 15. I appreciate you being along for the ride. It seems like we're getting set up for something very cool here. I want to make sure that I'm fully invested in it, and I have to leave here shortly. So we're going to start all of this in the next episode and see what happens. I appreciate you all watching these. I hope that you're enjoying them. I apologize for the cough while I was playing. Please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, check the links in the description. I know that this was maybe a bit of a shorter episode, but I'd rather be fully invested than up against it, and then all of a sudden I gotta cut something short at a point I don't want to cut it short. So thank you for your investment in this playthrough. Tell people about it, share my videos, check out my other playthroughs. If you're binging, I'll see you in the next episode. If you're waiting for the next one to come out, get it out as soon as I can. You appreciate you. You matter. I'll see you in the next one.